Well, today we found out Kansas won't play in a bowl game, but they will play in England.
You are Locked On Jayhawks, your daily podcast on the Kansas Jayhawks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Derek Johnson here. This is Locked On Jayhawks. Thanks for making it your first or second listen every day. Bonus episode here. And thank you for joining us and making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. On today's bonus episode, KU football declined a bowl invitation. So they're going to be playing in England next year. They're not cool with playing a bowl game this upcoming year. Now, there are certain, logistics and hurdles to jump over, and clearly they valued those hurdles as being too difficult to jump over, but I don't think it's a very good idea, and I'm going to break down why. I think it's very curious and weird, and anyway, we'll also get into a little bit of an update on KU volleyball and KU women's basketball. Good update to finish out the show of what I don't think is overall a good thing for KU. So this was a report earlier today from Brett McMurphy this afternoon on Sunday. It says at least 7 teams that were 5-7 have now declined a bowl bid: Florida State, Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Rutgers, Temple, and Kansas, sources told On3 Sports. The quest continues to find an opponent for Georgia Southern in the Birmingham Bowl. Now, I know a bunch of the local beat writers reached out to a KU spokesperson, and you saw a bunch of those tweets kind of going around later about a KU spokesperson confirmed this, basically, is what was said. So I don't know if there's going to ever actually be comments about why or what the reasoning is, right? I mean, maybe there is some good reasoning that we don't know of. I don't know. Like, I'm struggling to think of it. And I think in general, it feels like college football to me is broken. And that is a really unfortunate part of this. I don't know. I guess just canceled bowl games. Like, this isn't just a Kansas and all these schools. This isn't just Kansas State and Iowa State. Notre Dame opting out of it too. Like, this is just become, and here's the weirdest part about all this. We're at a point where players are getting legally paid by NIL and rev share, making more money than many of the people watching these games, many of the fans watching the games, making more money. And now, for whatever you would think back in the day when they're not making money, that would have been more opt-outs and people not playing in bowl games. But now that they're making money, everybody's opting out of the bowl games. And it's just like, it blows your mind, right? And I just think this is dumb for a young Kansas team, because you could say, hey, this was a handout being given to you. Like, oh, don't take the pity. No, this ain't KU basketball getting a NIT invitation. If they declined that, I would understand it. It's KU basketball, right? It's KU football, man. They've never made 3 straight bowl games. I know that's not on the table here, but you get what I'm saying. It's how many bowl games has KU made? I forget the number off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 14 or somewhere around there. Take the freaking invite. And here's the thing. Playing in a bowl game betters your chance of playing in a bowl game the next season. You know why? Because you get extra practices. And for a Kansas team that is super young, wouldn't that be helpful to get those extra reps? Wouldn't it be helpful to get the extra reps to the backup quarterback right now, who would theoretically be the starter in 2026? Don't you think those things would be helpful for this Kansas team? I certainly do. And maybe the reason you don't is you say, hey, there's what was it, 33 seniors on the roster. I don't know the exact number of players on the KU roster. I know the scholarship number was around 85 or something. Walk-ons were grandfathered in. So realistically, let's say KU has around 100 guys, 105 guys on the roster. Let's say you lose, because not every senior would not play in the bowl game. I think there might be at least a couple that are like, hey, this can be, like, I'm not going to go pro. I'll play in the bowl game, right? This is going to be my last chance to play. But let's say you lose even 30. We'll take a high estimate. That's just a couple seniors would still play in the game. Let's say that brings your roster number down to 70, including walk-ons, okay? Let's say you have another, because here's the other thing. Lance Leipold, typically, they don't lose a ton of players in the portal. Usually it's what, like 10, 12 guys? Let's even take the higher number of that. And even some of those, usually it's like in the spring. Let's say it's 15. Let's say you lose 15 guys via the transfer, and like most of those seniors don't want to play. You'd still be at 55 guys. I get it. Some of them would be walk-ons, but you'd still be at 55 guys, which is more than an active NFL roster. I think the active NFL roster is what, like 48? I think it's 53 on the roster, but on game day it's like 48 or something like that. You could have made it work. It wouldn't have been an ideal situation. You might have been playing some walk-ons a little rotationally. You would have been playing a lot of young players. But here's the other thing. You would have been playing against Georgia Southern. It's not like you're asking to play against Alabama and you're like, oh, so we're going to lose 60-0 in that game. Georgia Southern lost to Fresno State by 28 points. Fresno State team that Kansas cleaned up on, right? And while there is a pay, and like the game doesn't count for red shirts, so you can play the red shirts in this game, right? And while there is a payout, like maybe they think it's a money loss operation overall, like to where they're like, hey, even if we win and get the payout, it's going to cost us too much money to travel and to, pay for meals and lodging and all this stuff. Here's the thing. If that was really the situation, don't you think, because here's the thing, donors are approached all the time about stuff that like, hey, we really need to improve the offices here. We really need to improve, these facilities. And then maybe that's a little harder sell for some donors where it's like, I guess I'll give you a little bit of money. Don't you think that would be an exciting opportunity for donors to be like the big money donors? Like, no, I am the reason they're playing in this bowl game because I bought it for them and I'm going to get sideline passes and I'm going to have a good time. I would like to think that somebody or a couple people would have stepped up there, right? And here's the other thing. I would also get it if the bowl game was like, there's some upcoming bowl games this week, December 13th. It's finals week for KU this week. So if it was December 13th or whatever, or like this upcoming week, I'd be like, okay, I get it. That's a very short turnaround. You probably weren't practicing last week. The game's December 29th. You would have 3 weeks to get ready for that game. Fall camp is what, 3 weeks? So I don't know. To me, it's unreal. It's kind of disappointing. It honestly doesn't make me feel great about what is the winning DNA, so to speak, inside the team. I don't know. Maybe that's over amplifying it. But like in a world where constantly fans are being called upon, stay at the game, buy tickets, go do this, don't quit on the team, don't quit on the program. It felt like the program kind of quit on the fans in this case, right? And I think it's just this, like, it doesn't always feel like things are given to Kansas. It doesn't always feel like things are easy for Kansas. And this isn't easy, but it's like you were given an opportunity to play in a bowl game when you didn't like do everything you thought you needed to get there. And it just feels like you should have kind of taken the handout. I don't know. That's just my opinion. All right, let's get to more reasons why I think it's dumb. And then latest elsewhere. This is Locked on Jayhawks. Bonus episode of the show is brought to you by Game Time. World Cup is coming back to America for the first time, North America, since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever. It's massive, but let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Game Time app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging your seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. They have the prices, they include fees up front, which, you don't have any last second surprises at checkout. That's super nice. Plus you can set alerts for teams and matches to make it easy to grab tickets the moment that they drop to, a certain number that you want to be interested in instead of just missing out altogether. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. Thanks again for joining us here on Locked on Jayhawks, a little bonus episode. KU declining a bowl invite. Had to get down on the list to get to KU. And clearly this is, like I said, a college football problem. It's not just KU. Here's some of the reasons that I think it's dumb, right? We went over some of them, but think about it this too. KU lost, I forget what the number was of seniors that they lost after 2024. I want to say it was like around 30, if not more than 30 as well. This year, the seniors on senior day, I think it was 33. So, I mean, that is 2 back-to-back big classes of seniors you have lost back-to-back years. That means there's a lot of young players on the roster. That means there's a lot of players where even less so the game reps, sure, that would have been nice, but the practice reps, right? That's several weeks extra of practice, of being able to be in the facility, of being able to be around the coaches and just everything for this team. Again, December 29th for the game. You would have had plenty of time to do all of those things. And none of those stick out even more than the young roster, than the quarterback position, right? Even if Jalen Daniels theoretically would have opted out, that would have given you a great opportunity to play some of these young quarterbacks. Even if you say, hey, you get a quarter, you get a quarter, you get a quarter. Because again, it doesn't count for red shirts. You could have said, hey, Cole Ballard, you get the first quarter. Marshall, you get the second. McComb, you get the third, and then we'll figure it out in the fourth. Or if you just wanted to pick between you guys, hey, Ballard, you get the first. Marshall, you get the second. You're you want to alternate drives. Who cares? It's a bowl game. You went 5-7 and you made a bowl game. Use it as a test subject, right? It's an opportunity to get better for next year. And if that opportunity of the extra reps, the extra film you get, the extra practices, if that leads to you being just a little better to be 6-6 next year instead of being 5-7 again, that's worth it to me, right? And if it gives you a better insight on picking the quarterback, a huge decision for this program, that would also be gigantic, right? And again, even if you have a depleted roster, even like I said, if you're down to 50 to 55 guys, didn't LSU play Kansas State in a bowl game like 2 or 3 years ago? Maybe it was longer than that, 4 or 5 years ago. And they had like a bunch of guys opt out. I want to say I don't even know if they had a quarterback. And I'm pretty sure Kansas State smoked them. But guess what? How many people, do you think there's people today that's like, wow, I don't know, man. I can't believe Lane Kiffin took that LSU job after they got smoked by Kansas State 4 years ago in the Pinstripe Bowl, or I don't know what bowl game it was. No. But that was probably good reps for some of those young players. And it's even more true for Kansas, a team who is developing and building more than a school who maybe like LSU was able to play at the top of the portal or the high school recruiting rankings, right? And here's the thing. Even with the depleted roster, like I said, you're not playing against Notre Dame. That's not what you're being asked to do. This isn't, hey, Notre Dame opted out and we need somebody to play a top 15 BYU team. No, this is playing Georgia Southern, which I don't mean any disrespect to Georgia Southern. They're 6-6 team. Congrats on them for making a bowl game. Georgia Southern lost to Fresno State by 28 points. Georgia Southern 2 weeks ago lost to Old Dominion 45-10. Okay, maybe Georgia Southern beats you, but I don't think they're getting smashed. And honestly, Kansas still might win the game. And here's the deal. I saw somebody who was like, oh, but do you really want to risk the embarrassment of losing to a group of 5 school? As if we haven't seen Kansas lose to a group of 5 school in our lifetimes? What? Play the game, get the reps, help for next year. And here's the other thing. It's exposure for a program. It's a cool thing for the seniors. And again, how many of the seniors would have actually played? I don't know. But I'd be kind of mad. This is just me personally. Even if it's 3 seniors of the 33, right? If the rest of them want to opt out, because here's the deal. Not all of those seniors are going to play professional football or even going to get a shot at professional football. Don't you want one last game? Don't you want one last opportunity? I don't know. And then it's the payout structure too. Like I said, maybe there's other costs that I'm not building in, but I saw this from Adam Dravetta, who was my former, co-host when I used to do Rock Chalk Sports Talk. He tweeted this out on Sunday afternoon. He said, they're going to be calling for donations to the Williams Fund and the NIL pool while saying no to a minimum 6-figure payout here. I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense to me. So I've had, I'll say this. I think there's people, this might just be a reactionary in the moment thing, but I have had people that I've either seen that have reached out to me, people that I know, not just random people. I've seen some random people. I've seen some that I actually know who have literally said, I don't want to get season tickets next year because of this. Why should I invest if they're not going to invest back? Now, again, that could be a reactionary in the moment thing. By the time we get to next year, that might change, right? But it clearly pisses off the fan base. That's part of this too. So I don't know. All right, let's finish up latest elsewhere. We'll finish with a positive here because, I don't love this decision. Today's episode of the show is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here. Deals are huge. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor, and meals that make hosting or weeknight cooking even easier. That's another part of this too. If you get somebody who's going to be on the go, traveling a lot during the holiday season, it's kind of nice to just be hey, we got our Omaha Steaks, boom, we're going to be gone. We'll throw it in the freezer. Then we come back. We don't have to worry about going to the store and doing all these things and we're going to have a delicious meal on top of it. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and save an extra 20% off your select favorites during their cyber sale. For an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That is omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE, terms apply. See site for details. Thanks again for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. And a little bit of an update on KU women's volleyball. Congrats to them. They're going on to the Sweet 16. So I don't know, I don't want to say curse. I'm trying to think if there was a team in between them. But there had been a 2-3 year run where KU has had some good teams, right? KU volleyball is hosting back-to-back years and stuff. But just for whatever reason, KU's had some unfortunate NCAA tournament, either draws or luck or success or however you want to view it, where there were a lot of second round and first weekend exits for KU in recent years. And again, sometimes that's just like coincidence and crap and luck of the draw. But did KU soccer break the Sweet 16 spell for KU, right? Because you go from having some of these second round losses for some of these different sports teams. KU soccer makes it to the Sweet 16 with that nice comeback win against Louisville, and now KU volleyball is going to the Sweet 16. So I don't know, book your Sweet 16 tickets hopefully for KU basketball too. That'd be kind of nice, right? And it was an impressive win because you look at the last couple of years, they'd been hosting and they got upset, tough draws in both games in the second round of the tournament. And this year they were able to, and I think in both of them, they were up 2-1. I can't remember the Florida one, if they were down two. They were up 2-1 on Penn State, I want to say. And they ended up not winning the fourth, at least in that one. And this time they just end it in the fourth. And Miami had a ton of serve errors to get it there, but KU executed well. They found a way to get through. And part of the fun too is like the last time KU made a Sweet 16 in volleyball, whatever that was, 4 or 5 years ago, they beat Matt Ulmer in the first round. Now Matt Ulmer is the head coach and he gets them to the Sweet 16 in his first year. Doesn't get easy in the Sweet 16. It is going to be Nebraska is 32-0 this season. So this isn't just, Nebraska is usually really good at volleyball. This is like one of their best teams that they've had because they have lost, I think it was in the regular season, they lost 7 total sets, not games, sets. That's unbelievable. So the good news is Kansas did play Nebraska. If you remember back, I think it was on like Big Ten Network. Gosh, I don't know, back in like spring or something, January maybe. It was in the offseason. And I want to say they play, I think they played 4 sets. I think Nebraska technically swept KU, and then they played a 4th set for reps, and then I think KU won. But, 3-1 on a team that only lost 7 sets basically for the full season. Can Kansas find a way to compete? I mean, a couple of years ago, Kansas lost in the second round to Nebraska on the road, or maybe it was the Sweet 16. I don't remember. And it was kind of a controversial call that got Nebraska to the finish line there. Kansas got a little screwed there. So I don't know. Can you compete here? Obviously, Matt Ulmer has experience playing against Nebraska when he was coaching against them. When he was at Oregon, is part of the Big Ten there. So maybe that helps him with some familiarity there. Obviously, Kansas has never beaten Nebraska before in program history. So that's going to be really fun to watch this upcoming week on Friday. Also, a quick update on KU women's basketball, who it looked like it was going to be a bit of a double scare for KU against Missouri State, because not just that they almost lost, they got down a decent amount against a solid mid-major team in Missouri State. Not only did they come back, they won in overtime by 3, which huge for them to get to 8-2. But there's also a moment where I think it was Reagan Williams collided with Samaya Nichols, and both of them went down. I think Williams ended up missing some time. Nichols ended up, I think, being okay. They need to get healthy. Obviously, Jalea Davis hurt, Reagan Williams hurt. Like, the good news is Denver's next, then it's Haskell after that, and then December 21st. That gives you 2 weeks to hopefully get everybody ready. But KU's a little beat up right now. If they can get everybody healthy, I've said all along, I think this is a tournament team, but that's going to be easier said than done based on getting that health back. But still important to be able to come from behind, show some grit, and get the win there for Brandon Schneider and company. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Locked On Jayhawks. You can find our show anywhere you get your podcast, including on our YouTube page, where you can like and subscribe to the show. See you next time.